Hey friends, this will take you about 1 hour of your time and will get you a new listing 99 times out of 100 that you try it. And I'm literally serious about those numbers. 99 times out of 100 that you try this will get you a new listing. So welcome back to the Insider Tips to More Listings page. My name's Tim Johnson, and let me just break down how it works. I've actually got a visual aid today. So whenever I would take a new listing in a neighborhood, I would mail the entire neighborhood an invitation to a wedding. Not really a wedding, right? I would buy wedding invitations. So they would have wedding invitations, and it would say, maybe I'll break all this down, or I'll show you examples in a future video. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith have hired Tim Johnson to professionally market their home this Saturday between 11 and 12. Important. Create scarcity. Only do it for an hour. I see these open houses all day, or they're on Wednesdays. Saturday morning, 11 to 12. Sellers got no problem getting out of the house for an hour. 11 to 12. There's also going to be Chef Bill Bennett from Seti Bello Restaurant, who's going to be doing a cooking demonstration there. So we'll see you this Saturday at 11. So that would be on the wedding invitation. Now, the nice thing about the envelope itself is, first of all, try and use, I'm not a big fan of the American flag stamps. Love the flag, Marine, but not a big fan of because the flag, it looks like an advertisement, right? Like big companies use those American flag things. So and it's a wedding invitation. So try and go to the post office and get the little ones that say, like love on them, or there's like two doves or something like that. Looks like a wedding invitation. If your cousin is getting married, they don't put a return address on it, because you already know who they are, and you're getting these lists from the property appraiser, so you know it's an accurate list. Now, the good thing is you actually don't need to hand address these things. You can feed these through the printer in a really nice font, so that you don't have to hand address these. A lot of the other stuff that I teach, I'm a big hand addresser. Like, everything needs to be hand addressed. Postcards can have a label. These can be run through the printer. Now, one of the things might have caught your attention is, hey, you have a chef there? Are you kidding me? How do you get a chef to do that? Well, between 11 and 12 on a Saturday, a chef's not busy. They usually get in there about 2 or 3 and start prepping for dinner. So they're not busy, but then when they're done, they're heading over to the restaurant. It's also, he would get, because I'd get the feedback with him, it was free for me. He would get at least one of the people who attended the open house that day into his restaurant that night. And he would just say something like, hey, and when you come in, just remind me, we met at the restaurant, and I'll make a little something special for you. So he would get one new client. How much does it cost a restaurant to get a new client? And you can give them a new client every single Saturday for 52 Saturdays a year. And how much would that cost them in marketing? And what's the lifetime value of a client? There's all kinds of good things. So you get a chef in there, and plus then it becomes kind of a party, doesn't it? Right? It's just like, yeah, hey, we got the chef, and it's this, and it's kind of cool. Oh, and by the way, we got a house to sell here. If you want to take a look at the house, okay? Now, I would still put up all the open house signs everywhere, because I wanted to flood the house. We would have 20, 30, 40 people in the house at any one time. It becomes like kind of a party atmosphere, right? Saturday morning, it's no big deal. I'm not interrupting anything, but people are just like, oh my gosh, there's so many people there. But there's two types of people there that you and I are most interested in. Number one is the seller who's already listed. So this is the guy 2 blocks over whose house has been on the market for 3 months. It's had 3 showings and 1 ridiculous offer. And he's like, what the heck is this Tim Johnson guy doing? This is amazing. My realtor, does maybe an open house if I beg him and, I ask him any results, and no, nothing happens. No offers come in that week, because traditional open houses don't really work unless you know how to run them right. There is a way to do a regular open house, but I would just do 1 per listing, because I was listing 100, 200 homes a year. So, I could only do so many of these premier open houses, and not every house warranted doing one of these. So some were just bam, just sell, cash sale. But where you're trying to, farm a neighborhood or, get an area, so you get the guy from like 2 blocks over whose house is listed. He's either going to call you when it expires, or he's going to call you before. Now, you can't solicit him, but he can ask you to come over and talk to you about your stuff. Just don't mention price or commission, and you're not in trouble with the other agent, and he should be able to cancel his contract. In some cases, he needs to wait to expire, and then he certainly lists with me. But the most valuable person in that house, and we don't know who they are the people who are thinking about selling, but they've not told anyone yet. They certainly hadn't interviewed realtors. You ever get the seller that says, don't put the yard sign in yet because I haven't told the neighbors we're selling yet? Has any of you guys heard that, right? So these are the sellers. So they're just like, this is pretty clever. I really like this. So when the time comes to sell, I at least have a seat at the table. I'm not saying that they don't interview other agents, but man, I got a seat at the table. And you know what? I think every one of them would ask me, hey, Tim, are you going to do like one of the wedding invitation open house things with the chef thing for our house? Like if you list our house? Absolutely, I am. Number one, it brings a lot of eyeballs to your house, 20, 30, 40 eyeballs to your house at any one time. But number two, I want to do it to, raise the visibility of your house, but also because I know I'm going to get another listing out of it, because somebody will come to the house just like you, and, that opens up the conversation. So 100% yes, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to be doing that. Now, just again, I can't stress enough, just no return address, use your love, dove type of stamp, whatever. And hey, this works on the rest of the neighborhood that did not come, because they saw this one today. And then I got the sellers that were kind of like thinking about listing but hadn't told anybody yet. That's a golden list. Like, you tell me how to buy a list from a psychic or something like that of people who are thinking about selling but have not told anybody yet. Like, you show me how to get that list, man, that's worth its weight in gold. And that's how you get this list, because they raise their hand. But all the other neighbors say, yeah, last month I got one of these wedding invitations. And then, this month I got one of these wedding invitations. I drove by the house, it's sold already. But what does that also communicate to the neighbors? And then we'll wrap this up. What does this also communicate to the neighbors? This also communicates to the neighbors, man, this Tim Johnson guy, he's thinking outside the box, because normally all I do is I get this thing and it comes from, XYZ Realty. It's got a balloon on it and it's got the guy's photo on there and honesty, and we work hard, and, we're number one, and this and that, this and that, this and that. I don't get, wedding invitations in the mail. So this guy's like an outside the box thinker. And what that does is that gives you top of mind consciousness. So then they get the next wedding invitation, they open it up, Tim Johnson, Tim Johnson, Tim Johnson. You ask them to name me like 5 other realtors in the neighborhood. They can't. 3 other realtors, whatever. I mean, if there's a yard sign on their street, they might be able to tell you the name of the company that it's with, but probably not the name of the realtor because they've never heard of them before. So this gives you top of mind consciousness. So sellers who are listed already and are shopping for new agents, sellers who have not told anybody that they're thinking about selling, top of mind consciousness in the neighborhood. You are known as a outside the box thinker. You have a chef come in, you go to extravagant lengths in order to get my house sold. So anyway, that's a tip. I can break it down. If you got questions, leave them in the comments. I do one of these videos pretty much every day, so subscribe to it, and you'll get one of these tips delivered to your YouTube channel every single day. But I appreciate your watching. Again, the comments, the subscribes, the feedback, that means so much to me. So I really enjoy hearing from you guys. So until tomorrow, I post one pretty much every day. Until tomorrow, take care and just give this some thought. It's probably something you never heard of before, but that's why you subscribe to this channel. I try and give you stuff that you've never heard of before. If you go back yesterday, day before, something like that, I did about a paper lunch sack that this would get about 20% of the people who got this would call me asking me to come and see their house. So that's why I kind of do like outside the box stuff. Okay? All right, like I said, appreciate hearing from all of you guys. Appreciate the love. It just makes it fun. So have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.